Have you ever noticed that the most powerful people in the room are usually the quietest? They don't shout to be heard. They watch, they listen, and when they speak, everyone leans in. There's a silent strength in those who say less and observe more. The Stoics knew this well. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest emperors in history, ruled an empire while journaling his thoughts in silence, not blasting them to the world. In a society obsessed with talking, those who master restraint and observation gain an edge most will never see coming. Before we dive deeper into this powerful mindset, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to support our journey. And make sure you watch till the end, because what you're about to hear might just change how you deal with people forever. Number 1. Silence creates strength, not weakness. In a noisy world, silence is often misunderstood. Many people associate quietness with weakness or insecurity. But the truth is, silence is a shield, one that protects you from revealing too much too soon. The Stoics taught that we should only speak if what we say improves upon silence. Most people speak to fill the void, but the wise remain calm, knowing that stillness is a weapon. Think about powerful figures throughout history. Leaders like Nelson Mandela or Barack Obama weren't known for constant chatter. Instead, they listened more than they spoke, choosing their words carefully. It made them trustworthy and gave weight to their presence. In contrast, loud people are often seen as insecure, masking doubt with noise. By staying silent, you conserve energy. You avoid unnecessary arguments, and you give yourself time to think before reacting. This is the very essence of emotional intelligence: pausing, observing, and responding rather than impulsively reacting. People underestimate you when you're quiet. That's the advantage. When you speak less, others speak more. And in that space, you begin to gather information. You learn their motives, their fears, their values. Everything they try to hide leaks through their words. You become a silent strategist, always one step ahead. Number 2, observation is a superpower. Observation isn't just about watching, it's about understanding. It's about picking up on the details others overlook. The Stoics believed that our perceptions shape our reality. When you learn to observe people, body language, patterns, and inconsistencies, you begin to navigate life with more clarity and control. For example, in negotiations, the most successful individuals are often the ones who observe quietly. They study the other party, their tone, their timing, their micro-expressions, and they use that insight to adjust their strategy. Observation allows you to adapt, which is critical in both business and relationships. Take Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors in history. He spends 80% of his time reading and thinking, not talking. He observes markets, behaviors, patterns, and only acts when he has enough information. His silence isn't passivity. It's a calculated move built on deep observation. The same applies to social dynamics. When you observe people in your circle, you begin to see who uplifts you, who drains you, and who pretends. Most people never pay attention long enough to see through others, but those who do are rarely betrayed twice. Number 3, control over emotion comes through restraint. When you speak less, you give yourself space to process emotions before they turn into reactions. The Stoics believe that we should never let external chaos dictate our internal state. Observation allows you to detach, assess, and choose how to respond, calmly and wisely. Consider a heated argument. The average person will jump in, defend themselves, raise their voice. But someone who observes instead of reacts will let the other person expose themselves, burn out their emotional fuel, and eventually fall silent. The observer then speaks with calm authority, often ending the conflict with a few measured words. This isn't just theory. Think of someone like Keanu Reeves. He's known for being calm, reserved, and highly observant. In interviews, he never rushes to speak. He listens, pauses, and replies with depth. This has earned him global respect and admiration. without ever having to raise his voice. Restraint is power. If you want to lead your life with intention, you must learn to pause. Observing your own thoughts before speaking gives you freedom. You no longer feel the urge to prove anything. You simply let your actions and wisdom do the talking. Number 4, people reveal themselves if you let them talk. One of the best ways to understand someone is to let them speak freely. The more people talk, the more they reveal. In contrast, when you remain silent, you create a vacuum that others rush to fill, often exposing more than they realize. This is how you separate the authentic from the fake. Stoics believed that understanding others was key to managing your own expectations and disappointments. When you observe, you start noticing patterns, how people behave under pressure, how they treat others when they think no one's watching, and whether their actions align with their words. In friendships or business, silence becomes a filter. You learn who values your presence and who only values your attention. People will often show you their true colors in moments when they think you're not paying attention, but you are, and that's the difference. A great example is detectives or interrogators. They know that silence makes people uncomfortable, and in that discomfort they talk, sometimes confess. You don't need to be in law enforcement to use this tactic. Just allow people space, and they will eventually tell you everything you need to know. Number 5, speaking less builds mystery and respect. There's something magnetic about the person who doesn't reveal everything. In a world addicted to oversharing, mystery is power. When you speak less, people begin to wonder what you're thinking, what you know, what you're capable of. That curiosity breeds respect and even fear when necessary. Think of icons like Elon Musk. He's not known for being overly expressive, but when he speaks, the world listens. That's not because he says a lot. It's because he says just enough. His mystery builds anticipation, and anticipation is influence. From a Stoic lens, speaking less also means you're not wasting words on things you can't control. You focus on what matters. You don't argue to be right. You stay silent to keep your peace. And in doing so, you command more respect than those who constantly try to prove themselves. Letting others underestimate you is one of the most powerful strategies in life. Because while they're busy assuming, you're quietly working, building, learning, and growing. The next time you enter a room, remember this. Don't try to be the loudest. Be the quietest observer. That's the person with real power. Number 6, talking too much exposes your strategy. The moment you reveal too much, you give others a roadmap to outplay you. People often talk about their dreams, their plans, their fears, and in doing so, they hand over their power. The Stoics practiced discretion. They knew that wisdom doesn't need to announce itself. It shows itself in actions, not speeches. When you speak less, you protect your vision. You avoid inviting unnecessary opinions, envy, or sabotage. The fewer people who know your next move, the harder it is to block you. This isn't about being secretive, it's about being strategic. Your silence is not a wall, it's a filter. In the corporate world, successful CEOs rarely disclose their full strategy. They may talk in broad strokes, but the key details remain with their inner circle. Apple, for instance, built a $1 trillion empire by keeping its innovation pipeline tightly sealed. The world only sees the product when it's ready, not while it's being built. Apply this to your own life. Don't broadcast every step. Don't give people the opportunity to interfere or manipulate your intentions. Move quietly. Let your results speak, and you'll realize how powerful it is to stay focused and unbothered. Number 7, listening makes you smarter. Most people listen just to reply, not to understand. But when you speak less, you have more bandwidth to absorb. And when you absorb more, you learn faster. The Stoics believe that wisdom comes from listening deeply, not arguing loudly. Knowledge enters through the ears, not the mouth. Listening well gives you access to free lessons. You begin to understand how people think, how they behave, and what drives them. Every conversation becomes a learning opportunity. And when you practice this consistently, you develop a mental library others can only dream of. In the tech world, someone like Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, transformed a struggling company into a trillion-dollar giant. Not by talking more, but by listening to users, employees, and the market. His humility and attentiveness allowed him to make smarter decisions. That's the power of active listening. If you want to grow intellectually, emotionally, and even financially, learn to speak less and listen better. Don't interrupt to show you're smart. Stay silent to become smart. Over time, you'll notice that people naturally trust and respect those who truly listen, because it's so rare. Number 8. Emotional mastery begins with observation. The key to emotional strength is not in suppressing feelings. It's in understanding them. The Stoics taught that self-awareness is the foundation of all progress. And the only way to build that awareness is through observation of others, yes, but especially of yourself. When you talk less, you create the space needed to monitor your inner world. You begin to catch the rising waves of anger, jealousy, or fear before they crash. That space gives you control. You no longer say things in the heat of the moment that you regret later. You become composed, not reactive. Consider the example of Mahatma Gandhi. His entire philosophy of nonviolence was rooted in self-control. He once said, "Speak only if it improves upon the silence." His silence wasn't empty, it was full of purpose. It gave him strength to lead millions without chaos. If you constantly react to life, you'll always be controlled by it. But if you observe first and respond second, you become the master of your world, no matter how loud it gets around you. This is emotional stoicism in action, and it changes everything. Number 9. Quiet people build deeper relationships. Contrary to what many think, speaking less can actually strengthen your relationships. That's because true connection isn't built on talking, it's built on understanding. And you can't understand anyone if you're the one always filling the silence. Observing builds empathy. It allows you to see beyond words. When you give someone the space to express themselves, without interruption or judgment, they feel seen and heard. That's rare and powerful. It builds trust, it creates intimacy, and it shows maturity. This is how deep bonds are formed, both in friendships and romantic relationships. Think of therapists. They don't talk over their clients, they listen. They observe patterns, tone, emotional cues, and behaviors. Their power lies in the silence between the words. The same principle applies to real life. The less you talk, the more people open up to you. And when they do, you learn everything you need to know, their dreams, doubts, and intentions. Speaking less doesn't make you distant. It makes your words matter more when you do speak. And in relationships, that's everything. Because when you finally share your thoughts, they carry depth, not noise. That's what makes people feel like you get them. Number 10. The world respects quiet confidence. There's a type of confidence that doesn't need validation. It doesn't seek approval. It walks into a room without needing to announce itself. That's what happens when you say less and observe more. You develop quiet confidence. And that's the kind that lasts. Loud confidence is fragile. It depends on attention. It needs applause. But quiet confidence is unshakable. It's built on competence, awareness, and self-respect. The Stoics called this euthymia, a sense of internal stability and calm that doesn't rely on external praise. You've probably seen this in real life. The manager who walks in says very little, and yet everyone feels the need to impress them. The athlete who doesn't trash talk, but dominates the game. The student who sits silently in class, then aces the test. Their silence builds intrigue, and their results earn respect. In the long run, it's not the person who talks the most who wins. It's the one who listens more, sees more, and moves in silence. That kind of confidence doesn't just demand respect, it commands it. And the best part? You don't have to perform for it. You just have to be it. If you found value in this deeper exploration of saying less and observing more, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to support our journey. Your silence can be your greatest strength, and this is just the beginning. Keep watching, keep growing, and remember, real power doesn't shout, it watches.